You have unlimited power. You have unlimited wealth, happiness. You have everything you could possibly want. There for the taking. The secret is, how do you access it? Because you can't see it with your eyes, right? You see, it exists invisibly. It's within your divine etheric piggy bank. And you can't take it out until you master one skill. There's only one skill that anyone needs. It's a skill of choice, true choice. True choice is how we created our current world. Look around you at what you currently have. Believe it or not, it was choice that brought it to you. The world that you see now before you is, in a sense, a memory. It's like a record bank showing you choices of the past. We don't remember making those choices, and so we don't remember our power to choose. What happened is, and this was a trick that we played on ourselves, we wanted to create an experience in which we seemed to be separate from ourselves and God of our own universe. And so we, long ago, made an original choice, a choice to forget who we were. And now we're in this journey we call time, which is really one of remembering who we were at the beginning and choosing it again. But in the meantime, having forgotten our power to choose, we felt powerless. We felt like we were in a universe with powers beyond our control that didn't have our best interest in mind, out to get us. And by believing that, this gave rise to this whole notion of death, separation, scarcity, poverty, fear. And once we had that experience, we chose to believe in it. And then to deal with the fear, we made all kinds of survival-based choices based on the premise that we were unsafe. Ultimately, what this ended up doing is we ended up creating a separate self, a belief-based self, what you might call a self-concept or an ego. And now, every day that we wake up and see the world through the ordinary lens, we are choosing to believe we are that identity that we chose to create. And then we may search for ways back to our original self. That is ultimately what all religious and spiritual systems are for. But most of those systems convince us that there's like a creator who's separate from us and that we have to follow certain rules and be a good person, as they define it, and do the right things in order to earn the approval of that higher power. And then we'll get what we want. The whole thing reinforces the notion, though, the choice that we made long ago to believe that we were separate. That's a choice. We are now, of course, very confused. And almost every thought we have reinforces some false assumption that disempowers us, even when we think it's empowering us. Because what it's empowering is a false notion of self that has fallen asleep. But the good news is that same power of choice is available to us now if we're willing to question the cave that we're in, the identity that we're in. If we're willing not even to challenge it, but just to relax our identification with what we believe. Through meditation, through whatever work, breathing work, there's lots of ways. But when we relax our attachment to our assumptions, we can slip into that original identity. And from that point of view, we begin to laugh and go, oh, what was I thinking? We realize we always were it. We never weren't it. The searching for higher power or truth is noble to train the ego to get ready to remember truth. But when we remember the truth, we remember that we never were the ego. And we realize that the space of consciousness from which we made the choices that gave rise to the dream that we're in, that space has never left. And it's always who we were. And everything we did and said and experienced and feared, it was all happening within this very safe and quite loving context. Even our darkest fears were illusions once we slip into that awareness. And on a day-to-day basis, then, within this journey, this far out simulation, this beautiful journey called life, what this does is it gives us the ability to remember our power to choose whatever we want within this world. If you feel trapped in any way by your current timeline, if you feel any of these oscillating patterns of frustration, robbing Peter to pay Paul, got people coming after you, like a crazy coven of witches has been my most recent illusion in the journey. All these circumstances that trouble us are actually portals to our deliverance if we go into our feelings deeply around them and trace them back to the root. What we find is that they're like breadcrumbs, and they lead us right back once we pass through them, once we let go of our resistance and accept them fully. There's grace within our suffering. But there is no solution out here to our problems, because the cause is internal. We are the author, whether we've fallen asleep or forgotten who we are and filled with worry. We are the author. That can't be changed. Our free will to choose is ultimately our willingness to remember who we really are, or to stay asleep and be who we programmed ourselves to be, with the help of the world, which from this point of view is just a projection from past choices, maybe past lifetimes, maybe 1,000 past lifetimes. But the truth is, right now, we have the choice, and we can choose whatever timeline we want. There are no rules within this dream that are absolute. Unless we believe them, then they are absolutely a barrier. But our challenge then is not to try to succeed within that false frame of reference of limitation if it doesn't satisfy us. If you're chasing a goal, and you know in your heart of hearts that even if it were to succeed, it really wouldn't make you happy. If you're chasing any goal to get happiness, you're on the wrong path, because you're still trapped. It's joyful. Listen to disco, whatever lights you up. Have fun. Have a laugh. Learn to embrace all the experiences, because it's like you got a virtual reality helmet on, man. This is far out. But remember who you are beyond the carnival here. Because if you do that, you'll stay in touch with your power of choice, and you can bless your enemies, which means you can recognize and take the blessing from the attacks that come to you, from the scarcity, from your fears. And if you do that and make a habit of leaning into the discomfort, you're going to be able to anchor in your true self and your power to choose whatever you want. You want wealth, you want love, you want freedom, right? You want a vision that excites you so much that you just want to dance your way through whatever challenges you face. You want to demonstrate who you are, which is the victory of joyful dominion. And joyful dominion knows no limitations. That's who you are. When you remember your power to choose, you don't have to work for it. Your work is accessing the power to choose again and making beautiful choices that serve both you and the avatar that you've created.